A very good morning to all of you. Hope all are doing good. In this class, we'll be continuing Act 1, Scene 2 of The Merchant of Venice. We have read up to line number 40. So, let us have a quick recap. What have we read so far? We have seen the scene opened in Belmont. We are introduced to Portia and her maid Nerissa. We have seen they are talking about various suitors that are coming in order to try their hands to have Portia as their wives, and they have exhibited their discussion in a mocking manner in front of the audience, right? So let us proceed with our further discussion. We will start with line number 41. We'll start with Nerissa's speech. Nerissa: first, there is the Napoleon Prince. Okay, Napoleon Prince means a prince from Naples. To this, Portia replies, "Aye, that's a colt indeed." That's a colt indeed means what? Actually, colt is a colloquial term for young and inexperienced fellow who is rough and unable to perform such grave work. And the people of Naples are very famous for their horsemanship. So that's a colt indeed. That's a colt. That's a wild young horse indeed. For he doth nothing but talk of his horse. So he does nothing but he was completely talking about his horse. He makes it a great appropriation to this own good parts. So he finds this something to be appreciated about his own self, that he can shoe himself, that he can shoe a horse himself. So this is something very ridiculous. Actually, before we judge these suitors, we need to know this is completely Portia's spectacle. The way Portia wanted the readers to judge them, the way they are exhibited in front of us. It maybe Portia is exaggerating here, she is being hyperbolic with her facts, with her exaggeration, but this is the way they have been portrayed in front of the audience. To this, Nerissa says, then is there the County Palatine. County Palatine means Count Palatine. Actually, a count from the Palatine is one of the two historical districts of southern Germany, Lower Palatine and Upper Palatine. And he was the designating ruler or a feudal lord of that count. Portia: he doth nothing but frown. So he does nothing, but he can do only one thing. He can bring together both his eyebrows like that, and he can make certain wrinkles appear on his forehead, and he is always unhappy. He shows his displeasure to everything. As who should say, and you will not have me choose. So what does he say? He says, if you will not have me, then choose someone else. He hears merry tales and smiles not. So he listens to every funny stories, but he doesn't laugh. I fear he will prove the whipping philosopher when he grows old. So I feel he will become the whipping philosopher. Now, whipping philosopher is whom? There's a Greek philosopher named Heraclitus of Ephesus, who led a reclusive life and retreated to the mountains for his contempt towards the mankind. Due to his unhappy nature towards everything, due to his grumpy face and his gloomy view upon life, he was known as the whipping philosopher. So here the County Palatine is compared to the whipping philosopher. Being so full of unmannerly sadness in his youth. So here Portia is saying, since he is young, he has grown so much of unpolite sadness in his young age. I had rather be married to a death's head with a bone in his mouth than to either of this. I would rather love to get married to a dead man. Now here she is referring to a skull, and with crossbones on the mouth of the skull is referred to the tombstone. We have often seen there's a sign made on the tombstone with a skull and two crossbones. She is referring that. God, defend me from this too. God, please protect me from getting me married with any of this. To this Nerissa says, how say you by the French Lord, Monsieur Le Bon? Then what do you want to say about the French Lord? To this Portia replies, God made him and therefore let him pass for a man. Since God made him a man, we should consider him as a man. Now see, here this is a satirical imagery is being portrayed by Portia. She is counting that French Lord as a man as God has created him. Otherwise, he is lacking all the attributes in being a man, right? In truth, I know is a sin to be a mocker. Then she herself says, I know it is a sin to mock someone like that. Why? Hath a horse better than Napoleon's? He is more attached to his horses than the Prince of Naples. A better bad habit of frowning than the Count Palatine. He frowns more than the Count Palatine. He is every man in no man. He has all the faults of men, but alas, he is not considered as a man. If a throstle sing, throstle is a thrush bird. This thrush bird is a very common English bird. If he hears the thrush sing, he begins to jump about excitedly. He will start dancing. He falls straight, a capering means he will start dancing, he will start jumping and leaping. He will fence with his own shadow. He will draw his sword and start fighting with his own shadow. If I should marry him, I should marry 20 husbands. Here it is also a satirical imagery. He is having so many characteristics of different men. That is why Portia is saying if she gets married to him, she will be marrying 20 princes or 20 suitors at the same time. Actually, this is a satirical picture of a whimsical French character. If he despise me, I would forgive him. If he hates me, if he despises me, I'll forgive him. I'm okay with the fact. For if he love me to madness, I shall never requite him. But if he will start loving me madly, then I cannot do anything. I cannot love him back like that. I cannot be so much affectionate to him. To this Nerissa says, what say you then to Falconbridge, the young Baron of England? What do you want to say about Falconbridge then, the young Baron of England? Portia, you know, I say nothing of him. You know, I'll say just nothing about him. For he understands not me, nor I him. I do not understand him, nor he. He hath neither Latin, French, nor Italian. Means he doesn't know any of these three languages, Latin, French or Italian. You will come into the court and swear that I have a poor penny oath in English. Now she's saying that you can take your oath in the court and I have a poor grasp of English. I hardly know that. He is a proper man's picture. He is almost an ideal man. But alas, who can converse with a dumb soul? Now, who can converse with someone who is like a dumb show, who cannot talk back? Here, Portia is referring to the mime shows where we have seen people can show their physical movement and their expression, but they cannot speak. Now he is like someone who cannot speak, and here another metaphor is there. Since he doesn't know Portia's language, Portia is having difficulty in order to communicate to him. How oddly he is suited. I think he bought his doublet in Italy. How strange his clothes are. I think he has bought his jacket from Italy. His round hose in France. His socks are from France. His bonnet in Germany. Bonnet is what? A kind of brimless hat that he has bought from Germany. And his behavior, he has learned the behavior from everywhere. Now here we can see it is another satirical reference to Englishmen of that days, who traveled the whole world and likely to buy things from different countries and likely to adapt the manners, so that in a way they confuse themselves. And while amalgamating all those attires and dresses and everything on them, they are look like quite funny. Narissa, what think you of the Scottish lord, his neighbour? What do you think of his neighbour, the Scottish lord? Portia. That he hath a neighbourly charity in him. Yes, he seems to have love for his neighbours. For he borrowed a box of ear of the Englishman, because he received a slap from the Englishman, and so he would pay him again when he was able. And he only threatened that man to be back with his action. Okay, but he did not do anything. When he was able, when he would be able to do such, I think the Frenchman became his surety. I think that the Frenchman becomes his guarantor and sailed under for another and added another slap. Let me just make this part very clear to you. Here we can say this can be taken as a tropical reference to England, France and Scotland. Both in France and Scotland were at war against England. So here we have seen like the Scottish lord who is very meek, and here Portia is exhibiting her doubt against his financial condition, how sound he is in order to in case of economy. So she is saying that when he received a slap from the Englishman, he was not at all determined to be back with another slap. Rather, he took time and he said he will come back later, okay, when he will be able to do so. Another thing, here the Frenchman means any type of help from France he may receive in order to pay him back, because maybe he is having inability to pay back, right? As France and Scotland, they are often at war against England, and both of them seem to assist each other, right? So this type of image is seen here. So we have read about different suitors. They are coming into Portia in order to try their hands, but Portia portrays a type of satirical imagery for each of them. Now it is completely depending upon the reader how will they judge these suitors, but this is completely Portia's perception, her own spectacle, right? So up to line number 85 we have read today. We will be proceeding further in the next class of mine. All these historical events and all I will give you in study material. While reading that, please be very careful and go through line by line explanation, because questions may come like that. You need to learn the text very well in order to answer all the questions. We'll meet in the next class. Till then, you please take care of yourself, do read well, and have a good day ahead. Thank you.